Hi everybody. In this video we are going to discuss about the immunity, and in the previous video we studied about the cells involved in acquired immunity. So in that we studied about from where the B cells are formed and where the T cells are formed. We discussed very clearly. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about the T cells. Okay. First we are going to discuss now about the T cells. Okay. Now how T cells recognize a specific antigen. How T cells recognize a specific antigen. And we already said that T cells are formed in what? The thymus gland. Okay. They are formed in the thymus gland. So that's why the name is given as T. Okay. T cells. Okay. T lymphocytes we said. Now these cells that are there present. Okay. They are present many numbers. So let us say that these are all the T cells. Okay. Let us say that these are all the T cells that are present now. So here, if you are taking these T cells, okay, T cells, please remember that T cells, okay, T cells should be stimulated by the antigen. Okay, please remember, it is a very important statement. Okay, always remember that T cells will be stimulated by what? The antigen. So here, what is an antigen? It is nothing but a protein. Okay, it is a protein that is produced by what? That is produced by a microbe. Okay, or the pathogen. Let us say a pathogen. When a pathogen enters inside into the body, it is releasing a chemical substance. That chemical substance is called as what? Antigen. That chemical is nothing but a protein. So this microbe releases the antigen. So when there is an antigen here in the body, this antigen stimulates the T cells. Okay, stimulates the T cells. Now these are all the T cells. So when they are stimulated, okay, now antigen is what it is doing? It is stimulating. Okay, it is stimulating the T cells. Okay, T cells. Now some of the T cells, okay, some of the T cells start multiplying. So in order to understand it much clearly, let me say here, or let us say that I am taking one cell. Okay, I am taking this cell. Okay, let me say that this is the cell that I am taking now. Okay, this is the cell. Okay, this is the cell I am taking now. So when we look at this particular cell, okay, when we look at this particular single cell of what? T cell. Okay, T cell. Now here this T cell, okay, now is stimulated by what now? Antigen. And this one single T cell will be multiplying rapidly. It multiplies rapidly and forms into clone of T cells. Okay, forms into clone of T cells now. Okay, there are many cells, okay, called as what now? Clone of T cells we are calling them as. Okay, clone of T cells are formed. So here let us understand it very clearly. Please remember the first point is that T cells are stimulated by the antigen. Okay, which means only when there is antigen or in the presence of antigen, what will be stimulated? T cells. Then when T cells are stimulated, one of the T cell or each T cell gets multiplied into clone of T cells. Okay, so these are all the cells which are now responsible to attack one particular antigen, that is what? The one which entered inside, specific antigen. Let us call it as what now? The specific antigen. So in simple, when you understood this, okay, when you understood this, simple thing that we have to remember is that always remember antigen stimulates a specific T cells. Okay, specific T cells, which means here only we will be seeing this. Okay, we will be talking about this only now. Okay, remember this sentence. Antigen, when it enters inside the body, it is stimulating a specific okay, T cells. So here are those T cells. Okay, here are the T cells. A clone of T cells are formed, and these clone of T cells, even though they are many, okay, clone means what? Identical only, exactly the same copy. Okay, even though there are many, they will be performing different functions again. Another point you have to keep in mind here, that is all the clone of T cells, okay, clone of T cells will not perform the same function. They will be performing what? Different functions. Okay, performing different functions. Okay, this is what we have to remember. So keep in mind, even though there are many T cells produced, clone of T cells produced, when they are stimulated by what? Antigen. We should remember that all of them will not perform the same function. These cells will be performing what? Different functions which are produced, okay, when they are stimulated by the antigen. Okay, when they are stimulated by the antigen. Now we will see different types of those cells present in this clone of T cells performing different functions. Okay, performing different functions. So we said that here when an antigen enters inside into the body, they will be the cells. Okay, let us say there is one T cell, let us say, okay, each T cell, it is stimulated by what now? The antigen. Okay, stimulates the antigen, stimulates what? The T cell. When T cell is stimulated, now what happens is that there are many cells that are produced, and we are calling these cells as what? Clone of T cells. Okay, clone of T cells. Okay, we are calling them as clone of T cells we are calling. Now we are going to understand that in these cells, okay, all these cells which are called as clone, identical cells, this we said what? They perform, okay, they perform different functions we are saying, okay, perform different functions. So what are those functions that they perform? We are trying to understand, okay, perform different functions. So first group, let us say I am taking few cells of this clone, okay, T cells only. I am taking few cells. So those cells are called as what? Helper T cells we are calling them as. First type of cells are called as helper T cells, okay, helper T cells. Now helper T cells, they regulate overall immunity, means they control the overall immunity of an individual, of a person, okay, or a person, let us say. So helper T cells are very important in our body, that are produced from the immune system. From the immune system, what is their function? They are regulating the complete immune system, okay, regulating the overall immunity. How is it possible? They produce some growth factor called as the lymphokine, okay, they produce one growth factor called as the lymphokine, and this is a protein which will be again regulating or secretion of some other, okay, production of some other chemicals like interleukins, okay, interleukins, which we already studied. So here, how is it possible for the helper T cells to regulate overall immunity? By producing a lymphokine, okay, growth factor we say. This lymphokine stimulates the production of what? Interleukins, so that these are involved in regulating the overall immunity of a person. And they also, okay, they also regulate the overall immunity by acting upon the cells of the immune system. Overall, all the cells of the immune system are now under the control of what? T helper cells. Okay, T helper cells. Not only the cells of the immune system, but they also stimulate the cells of the bone marrow. Okay, cells of the bone marrow, which means we already studied that all these cells are arising from what? The bone marrow. So that's why in simple sentence we are saying that it regulates overall immunity. Okay, please remember this sentence, okay, by producing the lymphokines. And now what is the function of these helper T cells? Okay, helper T cells, they stimulate the B cells to produce antibodies. Okay, helper T cells help in stimulating the B cells to produce antibodies. So you have to understand that even though they are having the control or regulating the overall immunity, they cannot go and directly attack a pathogen. No, helper T cells will not go directly and fight against the pathogen. But what it does, it will identify that particular pathogen that entered inside into the body, or an antigen that entered inside into the body causing a disease. That is their characteristic. They identify that particular pathogen. Immediately they send that messages to what now? B cells. So here, as soon as okay, the antigen enters, it is stimulating the T cells. Now T cells in turn, the first cells we are calling them as what? T helper cells. Okay, these T helper cells will now go and stimulate. Okay, they are stimulating the B cells. Okay, stimulates the B cells. Okay, stimulates the B cells. Now we'll be talking about the B cells little later on, but you know from where these B cells are produced or matured. B cells means what? They are formed and matured in the bone marrow. So that's why we are calling them as what? B cells. So here the T cells, okay, group of T cells of this group, okay. Now first group we said T helper cells. They identify the pathogen or antigen. They go and send that information to what B cells, okay. Now T helper cells stimulates the B cells. Then the actual functioning is done, okay, by the B cells. Now these B cells produce the antibodies, okay, produce the antibodies. So remember this. Now antibodies, in short, we represent it as AB, okay, AB. So always in the immune system, the reactions will be taking place between this antibody and antigen, okay, and antigen. So it is like this, antigen and antibody, okay, reaction will be taking place. Antibodies are produced in our body by the B cells. Antigen is a pathogen protein that is produced by the microorganism, and this should be destroyed. So it is destroyed by what? The antibodies, which are very, very important in our body, produced by the B cells. When the B cells will produce these antibodies? Only when they are stimulated by the T helper cells. So that's why in simple we said here, okay, stimulate T helper cells, stimulate B cells to produce antibodies. And another one is that we are going to discuss the second type of T cells. They are killer cells actually called. But these T helper cells will be controlling the killer cells or stimulating the killer cells to destroy the non-self cells. Which means, now once the T helper cells identify a particular pathogen, they not only stimulate the B cells, but they also stimulate the second type of T cells, okay, called as killer cells. They, okay, activate now or stimulate, okay, they activate or stimulate what now? The killer cells. Now these killer cells will directly go and destroy, okay, or attack, let us say, attack the pathogen or the protein. It is directly attacking the pathogen here now. So the pathogen is directly destroyed, not the protein, but here directly there are killer cells. Killer cells are a group of T cells here from this clone. Second type we are going to discuss now. Okay, so these killer cells are stimulated by the first type of cells called as T helper cells. Then they go and destroy that particular pathogen which is causing the disease. So that's why we said T helper cells, they also stimulate the killer cells to destroy the non-self cells, okay, to destroy the non-self cells. So the second type of T cells, okay, cytotoxic T cells, cytotoxic T cells, otherwise they can be called as what? Killer cells. Just now we have seen. In short, they can also be called as K cells, okay, we can also call them as what? K cells, okay, in short we can also call them as K cells we call. Otherwise cytotoxic T cells. These are, what are these, or from where they are formed means it is like this. Antigen stimulates the T cell and this T cell produces a clone of T cells. So from that clone of T cells, first one we have seen, let us say T helper cells. We studied about what? Helper T cells we said, okay, helper cells, helper T cells we said, okay, first group, okay, from this clone of T cells. Now second one we are talking is about K cells, okay, K cells. Now when you look at these K cells, okay, K cells, these K cells are stimulated by what? The helper T cells. Now look at here. Now T helper cells will now stimulate, okay, they stimulate the, okay, killer cells, K cells, okay, K cells. Remember, we already first what we said, T helper cells are also stimulating what? The B cells we said, okay, B cells. And when B cells are produced, what we said? We said that antibodies are produced, okay, antibodies are produced. And here again what we are saying, T helper cells are stimulating the K cells. When K cells are stimulated, these K cells, they go directly and attack the microorganism. They go and directly attack the microorganism, which we are calling here it as what? The foreign cells, non-self cells. They do not belong to our body. Okay, so K cells go and attack, okay, attack the pathogen, okay, attack the pathogen and destroys this particular pathogen. They destroy this particular pathogen. How they destroy this pathogen? How the K cells can destroy the pathogen? Remember, these K cells will produce a particular protein, okay, particular protein, and which is called as the perforin. Please remember, which we already came across this, and a very important chemical substance. It is a very important chemical substance. Okay, K cells will be producing a particular chemical substance called as what? Perforin, and this perforin now attacks the microorganism. Say suppose if this is a microorganism, when K cells, okay, are stimulated by the T helper cells, I am showing in this way. Okay, now K cells are producing one chemical called as what? Perforin. Okay, perforin. This perforin creates pores in the plasma membrane, in the membrane of the pathogen. Okay, it creates pores in the membrane. So when the membrane is damaged, it means it is damaged, isn't it? Because of this chemical. When the membrane is damaged, now there is a chance now for all the other fluid to enter inside, and this, because of this, the cell will expand and it will get bursted. Okay, it will get bursted. In this way, the killer cells, okay, killer cells will directly attack the foreign cells. So we have to remember, most important one here is what? Perforin is a protein. Okay, it is a protein that is produced by the K cells to destroy directly the pathogen. Okay, to destroy the pathogen. So here, let us remember this particular perforin. Okay, which is very important for us. Okay, in our future classes. Okay, please remember this. So here, very important for your, okay, objective part. Here, if you see, the K cells are directly involved in attacking the foreign cells. Okay, directly involved in attacking the foreign cells. That's why, please remember this, that the cytotoxic T cells are involved in cell mediated immunity. Please remember this, cell mediated immunity, which means a very important one, which means that cells are directly, okay, cells are directly involved in attacking the microorganism or the foreign cells. Remember this. That's why we say that K cells or cytotoxic cells are involved in what? Cell mediated immunity. Please remember this. This is a very important point. Okay, name the cells present in the acquired immunity, okay, which are involved in cell mediated immunity means killer cells, or otherwise killer cells are involved in what immunity means? You should remember it as cell mediated immunity. Means what? The killer cells, the complete cell is involved in attacking the foreign cell. That's what is the meaning over there, and that's why we are calling it as cell mediated immunity. Cell mediated immunity. So K cells. Okay. Now the third, okay, type of cells present in this clone of T cells. Okay, third type of cells called as suppressor cells. Okay, suppressor cells. Now let us look at these suppressor cells. Okay, suppressor T cells. Okay, let us look at them. So the next type are called as what? Suppressor T cells. Okay, suppressor T cells. These suppressor T cells will suppress the T helper cells. Okay, will suppress the T helper cells. They suppress the T helper cells and also the K cells from attacking our own body cells. Okay, from attacking our own body cells. Which means, please remember, you have to remember that our immunity can be sometimes called as what? As a, most of the times it is a friend, and sometimes it is also a foe. We say friend and a foe. Okay, we say that our immune system is a friend and a foe. Foe means enemy. So here, sometimes when our immune system is overstimulated, there are chances that our own body cells, means T helper cells and also the killer cells, can attack our own cells and destroy our own cells. That's why we say sometimes it can be as what? An enemy for our own body. Most of the cases it will protect the body, okay, from this chance, okay, from this situation. How is it possible? It is because of what? Suppressor T cells. These suppressor T cells are always trying to control the complete immune system, that it will not try to attack its own body cells, our own body cells. So that's why the name is given as suppressor T cells. They suppress the immune system from attacking our own body cells, or otherwise in simple we can say it inhibits, okay, inhibits the immune system, okay, from attacking our own body, okay, from attacking our own body. So here you have to remember this, okay, it inhibits the immune system from attacking our own body cells. What are those? Suppressor T cells. So otherwise we can say it is suppressing the T helper cells and K cells from attacking our own, okay, or let us say from attacking, okay, from attacking our own body cells, attacking our own body cells, So here we have to remember this, okay, we have to remember this. So this is about what? The suppressor T cells, okay, suppressor T cells, and this is the third one we said. And in this clone of T cells, okay, in this clone of T cells, there are also other cells, the fourth type of cells. The fourth type of cells, let us say here that they are called as the memory cells, okay, they are called as the memory cells. So now let us look at this, what do you mean by memory cells, okay, what do you mean by memory cells? So the next type and the last type of T cells, okay, are called as memory cells, okay, memory T cells, okay, let us call them as memory T cells, okay, memory T cells. Now, we already said what? A clone of T cells are produced. So from this clone, some of those cells which fought with the antigen will be remaining in the body as memory cells. And if the same type of antigen, second time, if it encounters with the body trying to cause a disease, this antigen is easily identified by these memory T cells, okay, memory T cells. So it is these memory T cells which will be stored in the lymphatic tissue, okay, they are stored in lymphatic tissue, okay, they are stored in the lymphatic tissue. Please remember, stored, okay, they are stored in lymphatic tissue, especially in a, okay, spleen, okay, in the spleen and also in the lymph nodes, okay, in the spleen and in the lymph nodes. What are stored? The memory T cells are stored, which means they are already fought or identified. They already identified what? The antigen for the first time which entered into the body, and they destroyed it. And after destroying it, they turned up as what? Memory T cells. They can remember with which they fought for the first time. And second time, if that same antigen enters inside into the body, immediately they identify and they will try to destroy that particular antigen. They will try to destroy that particular antigen. That's why their name is given as memory T cells, and they are present mostly in the spleen and in the lymph nodes, okay, and spleen and the lymph nodes. So these are the cells which are involved, okay, in the immunity, okay, in the acquired immunity, okay, in the acquired immunity. And all these are the T cells, types of T cells which help in protecting the body from various disease causing microbes. And these T cells can be there in our body for about 4 to 5 years, or even longer also, of course. Okay, for how long these T cells will be there present in our body? For 4 to 5 years, or even sometimes even longer also. So let us remember all these points when we discuss about how the T cells recognize the specific antigen. Thank you so much.